Hi YouTube, I am Georgia. This is my vertical sleeve gastrectomy weight loss journey. Today is Sunday, May 17th, 2020. The city of Toronto where I'm in, it's still in the middle of reopening. Some retail stores will be opening on Tuesday, but with obviously some limitations, and I work at a retail store, so hopefully we'll go back to norm. It's been tough during this pandemic because I don't have a routine, and it kind of like affects you in a way. I don't know how it affected everyone. Maybe you can leave some comments. But for me, the fact that I didn't have a schedule, didn't have a set time where I took my vitamins, unfortunately, I didn't keep like a good schedule for that. I didn't have a set time for breakfast, lunch, dinner. And I'll get into how that kind of messed up my eating habits. My stats. Today I'm 216 pounds, but I started this week at 215 pounds. Sad. It sucks. From what I understand, it's going to be a stall week. Obviously, it's week 23 for me. I just finished week 23. Week 22, I did pretty okay. I lost like almost 2 pounds, and the week before that, I had lost 3. Yeah, and whenever I get like a streak of like, I lose 2-3 pounds every week for a few weeks, then I hit a stall. But it still hurts. It's still upsetting, and you're still like, oh my God, am I failing at this? This is it? Am I gonna stop here? And yeah, I think logically, and then I'm like, yeah, obviously that's not the case. I mean, it can't be like when you're consuming 800 to 1,000 calories a day, there's no way you're gonna stop at 216 pounds. Like, you can't sustain yourself. But these things go through your head. The good thing is now that the hair loss has slowed down. I still lose some, but not that much. I am lucky because I don't feel I ever went through a phase where the hair loss was affecting the way my hair looked. Maybe I had like some like thinness around this area, but not as much. And my hair is getting very, very long because obviously salons and things like that are still closed. But yeah, the hair loss has slowed down, and I'm really happy about that. I was getting a little worried. I was starting to get a little worried. I think it has to do with the fact that I increased my calorie intake to 800 to 1,000, which is a normal thing to do around the 5-month period. And I am now 5 months and 1 week out. Yeah, because I finished 5 months May 6th, and today is the 17th, so it's like 11 days. So it's almost like 5.5 months. Yeah, the food I eat, because of the quarantine, I wake up later. So I start eating around like 12 o'clock or around noon, whatever, right? Whereas when I'm at work, I start my eating around 10, which I get to work. Like, I don't give myself enough time to eat breakfast before I leave, so I just eat breakfast when I get to work, and also I don't feel like eating as soon as I wake up. So now because I wake up later and I've kind of like walk around the house wondering what I'm gonna eat or whatever, I start eating around 12. That means that I stop eating later at night because I go to bed later at night. I still eat about 3 meals and 2 snacks, but I noticed the last, a little while, I've been increasing it to 3 snacks. Not every day. And it's something that I need to pay attention to. I did correct the popcorn situation though, because I don't know if you watched any of my previous videos. I mentioned that I have a popcorn problem where I used to make popcorn almost every night. I don't do that anymore, and if I do, I put it in a small bowl and I just have that. The snacking though, I think it has to do with the fact that my schedule has completely been messed up. I eat later in the day, and then I finish eating later in the day. I'm awake till like late hours and like at night. Like last night I went to bed at like 4 a.m. and this morning I woke up at 11:30 a.m. and it's not an everyday thing, but days like today are messed up because like I start eating around like 1. So is that considered breakfast? Is that considered a lunch? And then when I have my dinner around 6, is that going to be dinner? Is that going to be lunch? And then if I stay up again till like 2 a.m., what if I want to eat again before I go to bed? Is that considered dinner? Like, I have to be a little more careful. Quantity wise, I still measure, weigh my food. I still try to get in 70 grams of protein, like 60 to 80, but on average I hit around 70, 75, which is good. Exercising, I go for walks. I go for long walks, like 45 minutes to an hour. I haven't found something that I would like to do in terms of a workout though, and I have to. I mean, if not every day, at least like 3 times a week would be nice to do something more active than just like 45-minute walks. I remember before, like a few years ago, when I did work out, before I reached 300 pounds, I used to be able to do some workouts, like videos that I like to do. And I've been meaning to start again, but for some reason they don't seem as appealing as they used to before. I've also done weight training before, and I have dumbbells downstairs and all that. But it's just like, I don't know why I keep postponing it, and I'm like, yeah, I'll do it tomorrow. Yeah, I'll do it tomorrow. But one of these days it has to be tomorrow because I'm ready to, start getting a little more fit. Obviously, I can move easier. I mean, you can't compare 298 pounds versus like 216. Like, life is totally different. Not so much for how other people see you, because we haven't been out, so I don't know how other people would see me now. But it's easier, like, to do things, to move around, to be more active, to have more energy, to do many things around the house. Well, I always like to do things around the house, but now it's just, I do it with more ease. I like to take out the dogs more often. I like to go for long walks. I mean, they get tired before I do. They're little anyways. They're right there sleeping. Yeah, so the quarantine has been tough on scheduling. I don't feel I'm one of those people that always try to snack, or because I'm in the house all the time, I constantly try to find something to eat. I think the quarantine has affected me more because it threw me off schedule. It threw me off my routine, and there is no routine, there's no set time. The only thing that's set for me is like the time we have dinner, because we have dinner all together, and we always have dinner around like 6:30, 7 o'clock. Again, we're a household that our day starts later and it finishes later, so it's having dinner 6:30, 7 o'clock is not that late when you go to bed at like 12 every day. Yeah, I don't know how to fix it. I'm hoping now that we're getting back to a somewhat norm, I'll be able to go back to normal eating habits. I don't eat bad, which that's another thing I wanted to mention. I don't eat bad food. Most of my food is home cooked. I'm the one that cooks mostly in this house, so I'm careful what I put in it. We don't do takeout that often. We had Chinese 2 weeks ago, and we had pizza 2 months ago or something like that. So those are the only takeouts we've had in the last 4 or 5 months. So no, we don't. In terms of like takeout, because I haven't been out to eat. Also, it has to do with the fact that we're in quarantine, so restaurants aren't open when I don't go out that often. Whereas like earlier in my journey, I went to visit a friend out of town, so we went out a lot. Went out with friends a lot over Christmas, birthdays, everything. Like, I was more exposed to outside food. But because it was so early on in the journey, you couldn't really eat much. Like, you would have 2 bites and that's it. Literally, like, if I ate anything outside of the house, it would be like 1 to 2 ounces and I'll be like, yeah, I'm full. So I haven't tested the waters on what I can handle now that my stomach can handle a little more food and obviously a bigger variety of food. In the house, I know I can eat 4 to 4.5 ounces comfortably. If I have a bite or 2 more than that, because sometimes I'm still a glutton. I still want that, like, the taste. If I have that extra bite, which is like 1/4 of an ounce more, I feel uncomfortable. But I have to be careful because at some point it's going to feel comfortable and then I might start taking that extra bite. I am aware, and that's good that I'm aware because I have to pay attention and be careful. Like I did with the popcorn, I was aware, I caught it. Now I don't do that anymore. So I don't know how it would be like if restaurants were open. I would go out more often, or if I had outside food more often. The Chinese did bother me. I remember, like, when we had Chinese, I tried to I didn't eat rice. I like, if I eat rice, I can only have a tablespoon. Forget it. Like, that's like, rice could take up so much space in the stomach that if you decide to go with rice, you won't be able to eat more than like 3 ounces of like anything else and like 1 little tablespoon of rice. I try to avoid noodles and pasta, like rice noodles and pasta, sort from like the Asian places, because again, they expand in your stomach. I can handle though a little bit of pasta if I make it like spelt pasta or chickpea pasta or lentil pasta. Those I can handle a little more, I feel, because they don't expand as much in the stomach. So what did I have? I had I think barbecue pork and duck. I had barbecue duck. So there was nothing that I ate that was like battered and drenched in a sauce, but it still bothered me. I suffered so much after I ate it that it wasn't even worth the taste. Like, it tasted really nicely, but it was bad. One thing I want to try in the future will be sushi, but I think it would be more like a sashimi rather than like in the rice. I'm missing things like that now, like the taste or the experience. But I don't know if it's so much because of the surgery or because of this crisis quarantine that everything is closed and we can't really go anywhere anyways. So where am I going with this? If you're starting your journey, if you're around 5 months, because obviously this is going to go up like a couple of weeks later or like a few weeks later, and you start to introduce certain foods, take it slow, be smart. Don't like dive right into it because it's uncomfortable and can be painful. I read on one of my social media groups, someone was 9 weeks into their journey and they said, "Oh, I'm gonna have Chinese. Any recommendations?" Don't rush things. Like it's food and it's amazing. I'm not trying to be food police, but you have time. I don't feel certain foods should be introduced that early on in your journey. Enjoy the earliness of restriction, enjoy the fact that early in your journey you have that restriction and certain foods cannot be tolerated. Live through it. It's helpful. It's helpful to see food differently. I think at 9 weeks, like the first 2 months, Your brain hasn't adjusted yet to the fact that your life will be different. Yes, like you go, like at least for me, I went to all these like nutrition classes before and after. It took a year of like seminars and classes and like getting ready for this, them trying to explain to you protein first, don't eat certain foods, avoid rice and pasta. They never told us low carb. They told us protein first and avoid certain carbs like bread and pasta and rice. So where am I going with this? Enjoy the liquid phase. I know it's annoying. I remember being very annoying when I was in the liquid phase and I felt like I could handle food. I wanted food. Sorry, my digestive system is making like weird noises. That happens after surgery sometimes. Enjoy the soft food phase. I mean, like, you're not going to force yourself to go through a soft food or a liquid phase again unless you do like the pouch reset that a lot of people claim it helps. Other people say it's not, there's no such thing. But what I feel it is with that is because we have been through a liquid phase. Maybe we can handle a week of liquids max again, but it's not advisable to go back to eat like 300 calories a day for like a week. I don't think that's a good thing to sustain after that phase. And then you go into the solid foods. Like once you go to solid foods, don't go like from, oh, I'll have pizza. No, I did it. I'd made that mistake, and you can make the same mistake. That's fine. It was very uncomfortable. It was very painful. So I didn't do it again, basically. You could do an error and try thing like I did, where like I tried a couple of bites of pizza and I saw it was very, very uncomfortable, and I haven't had it since. But there are some people who don't have that restraint for themselves. So maybe some people might have trouble stopping at the 2 bites of pizza even though they're in pain. Maybe they're, sometimes even in the past before surgery, I would feel full, but I would continue to eat because I wanted that taste and that flavor. Whereas now I don't do that because it's like honestly so uncomfortable and painful that I don't want to. And if you do introduce something like a no food, take a bite or two, chew very well, swallow, and wait a couple minutes, because it might not hit you right away that it's gonna hurt you. Same with Chinese, like at 9 weeks, like, why are you rushing? Like, wait a little bit. I waited a bit. I waited 5 months. I'm not saying you should be doing what I'm doing, but why would you want to go through that? Why would you want to introduce something like that so early on? Introduce it like at the 3-month mark or the 4th month mark, and you're going to enjoy it a little better because it's not going to hurt you. So you're not going to have as bad of an experience, and it's not like you're going to waste food like that because you're going to have 2 bites and then you're going to be in pain and like the food is wasted. You can, if you introduce a little later, you can have like 4 ounces of it, enjoy it a little more, and maybe it's not going to be as painful, because I have had foods where like I've introduced them and they're not like the healthiest choice, whatever, like pasta. And it didn't bother me. I handled it okay. I feel if I had introduced it earlier than I should have, it would probably be painful and it would bother me. And why would you want to do that to yourself? Yeah. So I don't know. Like I'm starting now. I'm gonna start to reintroduce certain other foods that I haven't been able to tolerate this far, although there haven't been that many. I think I'm gonna start cooking some of my ex-favorite meals from like burgers, for example. Burgers. I can have the meat patty with all the fixings. Half a meat patty with all the fixings without the bun. But I'm starting to make my own bread. I made sourdough. I made burger buns. And I can have that without it bothering me so much. Probably in my head, I don't know, but it doesn't bother me as much. Obviously, I have very little of it. So I'm trying to basically make the foods that I used to enjoy out myself, where I can control the ingredients and the quantity and everything, and I don't feel as bad. Not emotionally, like I don't feel bad when I eat, kind of thing. So it doesn't bother my stomach as much, because yeah, when I eat food from outside, depending on what it is, it can cause discomfort and pain. Anyways, this wraps up this video. Week 23, 216 pounds. I gained a pound this week. Hopefully next time I make a video, I'll have better stats. I want to thank you for watching. Charlie and Rosie say bye even though they're sleeping. And I'll see you next time.